All right, it's been a hot minute. I had a lot of stuff go on personally. My wedding, uh my birthday, Thanksgiving. A lot of stuff has gone on in the last a little over a month. So finally things settled down. I need to recap a lot of stuff. So I'm going to just combine it all into one video, and I don't care who's watching. Um, it's better to just get my thoughts out. I'm gonna be covering four main topics. That's the Saints and Eagles, Penn State, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame finalists. Especially the past couple days, we found out about senior nominees, contributor, coach. A lot of this is going on. Penn State is playing tomorrow. It is currently December 6th, Friday. Penn State plays Oregon tomorrow. One of, I don't know if there's been a bigger game that I've been alive for Penn State. Um, you're talking about playing the number one team in the nation, Oregon. You know what? We might as well, while we're talking about Penn State, we might as well just go into it. So, um, Penn State, they played the last time you heard me, Lord. I guess you didn't hear me was against UCLA. I didn't talk about that game. I would love to, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hop on in here. First, let me just quickly set up things. This is gonna be unedited, by the way, because this video might be an hour long. I don't know. Um, I'm hoping it's a lot shorter. So, um, I'm just gonna get right into it. All right, so the last game you didn't hear from me about was the UCLA game, which was fantastic. And I was getting ready to go to the movies. I don't remember what movie I went to see. Um, oh yeah, that's funny. I lost my ID. Um, going to go see a movie immediately after this game, and I was going to be late for the movie. I was supposed to see Terrifier 3. That's how long ago it was. And it's all right. So it's week six. I'm just gonna go through like I normally do. First quarter, UCLA turned the ball over on downs at the Penn State 24-yard line. Second quarter, Penn State quarterback Drew Aller ran the tush push for a 1 yard touchdown, which now Penn State social media calls it the Nittany Nudge. I love it. I love it. UCLA kicker uh, Mateen Bagani. I might be butchering that name. I apologize. Um, he kicked a 25-yard field goal. Drew Aller threw a 5-yard touchdown to tight end Tyler Warren, which a lot of stuff has happened with Tyler Warren. Penn State led 14-3 at halftime. Third quarter, Penn State kicker Ryan Barker kicked a 25-yard field goal. Katron Allen ran in a 1 yard touchdown. UCLA turned the ball over on downs. Oh, I'm thinking about the USC game now that I read this, which is the next week. Um, yeah, it was weird. Okay. Um, Ryan Barker kicked a 40-yard field goal. UCLA quarterback Justin Martin threw a 1 yard touchdown to wide receiver Logan Loya. 2-point conversion is successful with the pass from Martin to running back Keegan Jones. Penn State won 27-11. Some notes I had: there was no Nick Singleton for this game as he was dealing with an injury during the week. Pass defense struggled early on and showing zone against a new quarterback. The big Zamboni, Andy Kotelnicki. Yeah, he was. It's been so long. I wrote all this stuff down, and um, I can't remember. Oh, that's right. This was when Penn State was introducing um an offensive lineman in motion, and that is so brilliant. I don't think many teams do that. I know the Niners did it with Trent Williams. They used to do that. I don't think they do it as much anymore, just because they need more stability on the offensive line. And right now, he's the only stability on that line. New kicker alert. Ryan Barker. has been playing his butt off. After this game, he's been playing fantastic. I don't know where this dude was before this, but man, he's been balling out. Um, I said refs were terrible all game. A lot of calls that should have been made against Penn State, and they were the most obvious you would see. I do remember some calls. Not a lot. Um, I think there, in terms of like spotting the ball, there were some issues. And if I mention the refs, it's normally I try to point out the most balance between the two. And most people will say, "Oh, the refs hated our team," and I I try to see were the refs doing a good job on either side, and I don't think in this game they were necessarily doing good on either side of the ball. Um, Yeah, not much to say. Skip to the USC game. Ryan Barker kicked a 34-yard field goal. USC running back Quinn Joyner ran an end around 75 yards for a touchdown. That was the end of the first quarter. So this was the game. I had I had movie tickets to see. I had a ticket to see Terrifier 3, which was fantastic. If you like horror movies, I would highly recommend it. It's also a Christmas movie. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Um, and I had it scheduled to where I would be leaving right after the game and I'd make it in on time. And I lost my ID going to the theater, found out that I'd lost my ID a week before. It was a whole mess. When I say I've had a crazy month and a half, it's been a crazy month and a half. Um, Anyways, second quarter USC quarterback Miller Moss, who is now in the transfer portal. I really like him too. He threw a 9-yard touchdown to Quentin Joyner. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller threw an interception to USC linebacker Desmond Stevens, the second, who returned it to the Penn State 26-yard line. USC kicker Michael Lance kicked the 45-yard field goal. Ryan Barker kicked the 33-yard field goal. Michael Lance kicked a 47-yard field goal. USC led 20-6 at halftime. And third quarter, on a double pass from Penn State backup quarterback Bo Pribula to Drew Aller, tight end Tyler Warren snapped the ball, went out for a pass, and caught a 32-yard touchdown. I have never, ever, ever seen something like that. I mean, all right, in the UFL this past season, there was a long snapper on a punt who caught his own pass. That was fantastic. That was the most and that was the best play I've ever seen a center make in terms of not and being involved in blocking like anything else. And I've never seen someone do that. And then Tyler Warren, who I'm gonna say it. I've been saying it since probably this game. He should be in the Heisman convo. I don't think he would win over Ashton Genty or Travis Hunter. Which I'll actually get into the Heisman talk because I think I have a lot to say about that. I love both guys. Um, but Tyler Warren has played every position but guard on offense. Every single position. He's played quarterback, running back, fullback, H-back, tight end. He's lined up in the slot. He's lined up out wide. He's lined up at tackle. Now he's snapping the ball, playing essentially center. Um, Even though technically it's not center in this formation, he snapped the ball and then he went out and caught a pass. Um, I've never seen someone do that. And not only did he catch a pass, but he caught a 32-yard touchdown. Um, so I'm going to reread that. On a double pass from Penn State backup quarterback Bo Pribula to Drew Aller, tight end Tyler Warren snapped the ball, went out for a pass, and caught a 32-yard touchdown. So he snapped it to Bo Pribula, who then threw it to Drew Aller, lateral, who then threw it to Tyler Warren for a touchdown. Uh, I've never seen a tight end like this. I can't believe I can't believe he plays for Penn State. I've never seen any sort of tight end as good as him. As all I mean, he could play every position. Um, I've never. I mean, a lot of people called Kyle Pitts the unicorn. I think Kyle Pitts was the generational talent that people look for. They want to see a player who can change the position, and I think that's what Kyle Pitts was looking like. Um, he hasn't really turned out that way. I think he's good at some points, but he's very inconsistent at times. Especially over the last 2 years. I think this year definitely doing better. It's a step in the right direction, but I still don't think he's that great. I don't think he's this generational talent. I think he always has the potential to have that generational to be a generational talent. But and that's the closest. I mean, Travis Kelce was never on that level in college. Gronk was never on that level in college. Aaron Hernandez may have been. Um, I've never, ever, ever seen any tight end play like that before, ever. Um, I mean, I loved watching Gesicki and Freiermuth, and like 2 weeks before this game, I don't remember who Penn State was playing. I was thinking, yeah, I don't know if Tyler Warren's the best tight end I've seen at Penn State. Like Gesicki was great, Freiermuth was great. I loved watching those guys. I really do. I love watching them on Sundays. I think it's awesome. I mean, I'll end up talking about the Eagles playing the Bengals and Mike Gesicki went nuts. Um, and he's just he's different, man. I've never seen someone like him. Anyways, I have to get through all this, otherwise this video is gonna be really long. Penn State running back Katron Allen ran in a 1 yard touchdown. Drew Aller threw an interception to USC linebacker Easton Mascarenas Arnold. I'm probably butchering that last name. I apologize sincerely. Um, he gave USC the ball at the Penn State 24-yard line. Michael Lance kicked a 34-yard field goal. Fourth quarter, Ryan Barker kicked a 20-yard field goal. Miller Moss threw a 5 yard touchdown to wide receiver Kyron Hudson. Drew Aller threw a 14-yard touchdown to running back Nicholas Singleton. Miller Moss threw an interception to Penn State safety Jalen Reed, who returned it to the USC 49-yard line. Drew Aller threw an interception to USC linebacker Roman Marchetti, who returned it to the USC 43-yard line. And it was 30-30 at the end of regulation. Now I'm like, I haven't been stressed all year until this point. Even after this, the Ohio State game, I was never stressed out. I had a wedding that day. Um, I literally left right after the Penn State game ended to go to a wedding. I was not stressed out for the Ohio State game at all. Um, Overtime, Michael Lance missed a 45-yard field goal wide left, and Penn State kicker, starting kicker, best kicker I've seen in a while, probably since Joey Julius. I love Joey Julius. Whatever, wherever you are, Joey, I love watching you, man. Um, Ryan Barker kicked a 36-yard field goal to win the game. Penn State won 33-30. Um, some notes I had were defense got shredded. They absolutely did get shredded, which is what I'm worrying about playing Oregon. Um, Tyler Warren tied the record for most catches by a tight end in a game with 17. He's incredible. Penn State, Wisconsin. Um, let's see. Wisconsin kicker Nathaniel Vakos. I'm probably gonna butcher a lot of names. I also have a stammer. I don't know if many people know that. Um, so that's not an excuse. I try my best to if I hear the name, I will try my best to repronounce it. That's how I end up pronouncing names like Halapulivati Vaitai so correctly, or Namni Asamoah, or Osi Umenyiora. I try my best. Um, and Anyway, he kicked a 50-yard field goal. Penn State attempted a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller fumbled the snap. Wisconsin cornerback Nizier for for querying for the names. I really apologize. I trust me. I've for 2 months now, I've had someone call me a name that was not correct because I thought they were joking the whole time. So, um, I get it. He recovered a fumble at the Wisconsin 28-yard line. I remember this. I didn't think it was a fumble, but either way, it would have been a turnover on downs because Aller didn't get the ball, or didn't get the first down. Second quarter, Penn State quarterback Drew Aller threw a 6-yard touchdown. Nick Singleton, Wisconsin running back Tawee Walker, ran in a 1-yard touchdown. Wisconsin led 10-7 at halftime. Two halftimes being down. These are big games when you end up looking back on it. Third quarter, Drew Aller suffered an injury, did not return. I thought this was the best thing that could happen, considering I thought the offense was stale going up against Wisconsin's defense. Um, Bo Privula started the second half. Wisconsin quarterback Braden Locke threw an interception to Penn State safety Jalen Reed, who has been playing awesome. Um, he returned it 19 yards for a touchdown. Vacos kicked a 32-yard field goal. Fourth quarter, Bo Pribula threw a 1-yard touchdown to tight end Khalil Dinkins. Dinkins looks like he's got a lot of potential. I can't wait to see him next year as a starter. Penn State running back Katron Allen takes a direct snap and ran 24 yards for a touchdown. Wisconsin turned the ball over on downs at the Penn State 15-yard line. Penn State won 28-13. Wisconsin attempted a punt on 4th down on the opening drive. Uh, Penn State beats the lineman, forces the punt to. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, this was when the punter pulled the ball. So Wisconsin was attempting a punt on 4th down on the opening drive. And a Penn State player beat the offensive lineman, and he was gonna block it. But I think he was so quick that the punter needed to do something, so he pulled it in himself and ran for a first down. It was not designed that way. It was just pure instincts. And I don't know. I don't know what you would even do there. I mean, you're going so fast that the other team has to just make a split second decision, and because the rest of both teams don't know it, he goes and gets a first down. Um, Tyler Inspector Gadget Warren. He was called Inspector Gadget. I loved it. I loved the reference. I thought that was a great nickname for Tyler Warren. Uh, Julian Fleming. I said he sucks here. I think it just doesn't. I just don't think he has chemistry with Drew Aller. I just doesn't don't think it works. I think there's something wrong with him in the off. I don't even think he does well with Bo Pribula at quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is with Fleming. He's just. I mean, he's got talent. He should have talent. I mean, he was one of the top wide receiver prospects in the nation, and he went to Ohio State, then transferred to Penn State. I don't because he wanted more playing time, but he doesn't look good. Playing calling wasn't great in this game. I think it was because Wisconsin's defense was really good, and having Bo Pribula out there, um, I mean, that's kind of what we needed in this game. That's not saying Bo is better than Drew. I think Drew is a better quarterback, but we needed more like speed back there. And I think Bo was the right guy to have back there. Um, Deny Dennis Sutton. I might have been calling him Dennis Sutton for a while. I extremely apologize for that. It's Deny Dennis Sutton. he got hurt with a groin injury. He tried to return in the second half, but stayed out after one play. Um, yeah, and it ended up not being that serious of an injury. Bo came in, was probably the best case scenario for the scheme of the offense because Penn State needed to run the ball more, and Prbula forced them to. Um, Bo showed he can be a very accurate passer. I mean, this whole time, I mean, he's showing that he can be a starter in college. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if he transferred. I think it's all going to be dependent on if Drew declares. I think Drew can declare for the NFL draft. I don't think he should. I think Drew needs to learn a lot more in college, and um, yeah, I think he needs to learn a lot more. I think he's very what's the word I'm looking for? He has a lot of trait, like he could be a very good quarterback. I think he just needs to work on a lot of different areas to make him a more sound quarterback. Bo is definitely athletic enough to be a starting quarterback in college. He was throwing through tight windows the whole time he was out there. And this was the first game Nick Singleton came back from the injury. Since he came back from the injury, even right now, I don't think he's been playing his. I don't think he's playing to his capabilities. I think the injury is holding him back. Whatever injury it was, it's definitely holding him back. Um, we'll go now to probably the biggest game on Penn State's schedule going into the year was Ohio State. Um, I, I going into the game, I knew if Penn State needed to win big time, and I mean going into the game, I knew even if we lost, we would probably still make the college football playoff, as long as we won the rest of our games. And there was a lot of issues with this game. It's a lot of things that I think about. First quarter, Ryan Barker kicked a 29-yard field goal. Ohio State quarterback Will Howard threw an interception to Penn State cornerback Zion Tracy, who returned it 31 yards for a touchdown. At that moment, I thought this could not have started any better. 10-0 at home against Ohio State, who we had trouble beating. But then Will Howard threw a 25-yard touchdown to Mika Buka. Um, Second quarter, Will Howard threw a 20-yard touchdown to wide receiver Brandon in Ennis. Penn State safety Zakee Wheatley forced Will Howard to fumble the ball out of bounds and into the end zone for a touchback. I thought that was going to be the play that saved the game for Penn State, because Penn State got the ball at the 20-yard line. Penn State quarterback Drew Alley threw an interception in the end zone to Ohio State cornerback Davidson Igbason, for a touchback. Ohio State led 14-10 at halftime. That was a big time interception Drew threw. I don't know what he just completely whiffed on the throw. Um, I don't know. Third quarter, Ohio State kicker Jaden Fielding kicked a 46-yard field goal. Ryan Barker kicked a 44-yard field goal. Fourth quarter, Jaden Fielding kicked a 39-yard field goal. Penn State turned the ball over on downs at the Ohio State 1 yard line. Ohio State won 20-13. Um, yeah, this is the helmet stripe game, by the way. Because I all week I had been hearing people say, "Oh, this should be prime time. This should be 8 o'clock game." Yeah, it should have. I was the only one in America not wanting it to be because if it was any later of a game, I would have probably missed it because of my mom's wedding. So I would have definitely missed that. So I'm the only one in America that wanted this. Drew Aller running early in this game was to show his knee was fine. I know he sustained that knee injury, and he seemed fine. He honestly looked like a different quarterback. for this game. And since then, since his knee injury, he's been running a lot more. Um, Defensive discipline was an issue, which kept Ohio State on the ball multiple times during the second touchdown drive. Defense just can't get off field on third and fourth down, which has been an issue all year against good offenses. James Franklin mismanaged the clock by not calling a timeout late in the first half. Two tight ends and one wide receiver on fourth down. Uh, Turnover on downs. Yeah. Oh, yes. The final turnover on downs. Your decision was put two tight ends out there. I don't care that it's Khalil Dinkins and Tyler Warren. I don't care. You put two tight ends out there and one wide receiver running routes. Who designed that play? That was stupid. That costed the game. So yeah, that was stupid. Some stupid decision making in this game, which James Franklin's known for that. I know Andy Kotelnicki calls the offense, but hey, maybe James Franklin had some say in that. I don't know. You kind of can tell when Andy Kotelnicki's in his bag and when he's not. Um, and the next game was one of those games where he was in his bag. Uh, Washington at Penn State. I thought maybe if there was any trap game, it was gonna be this one. I was wrong. Uh, let's see. First quarter, Washington kicker Grady Gross missed a 45-yard field goal. Penn State backup quarterback Bo Pribula ran in an 8-yard touchdown. A lot more usage of Bo Pribula after the Ohio State game. Second quarter, tight end Tyler Warren ran in a 2-yard touchdown. You're going to hear that quite a bit. Washington quarterback Will Rogers III threw an interception to Penn State safety Jalen Reed, who returned it to the Penn State 42-yard line. Tyler Warren ran in a 2-yard touchdown. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller threw an 8-yard touchdown to Julian Fleming. Penn State led 28-0 at halftime. Third quarter, Tyler Warren fumbled the ball, and Washington safety Jordan Shaw recovered it at the Penn State 34-yard line. Will Rogers III was benched to start the second half, and Demond Williams Jr. came in at quarterback. I do remember this. Demond Williams, he looked better than Grady Gross. I don't watch many Washington football games, um, but he looked more athletic for playing this type of game. He looked like he should have been better. Or not Grady Gross. What Will Rogers third. I'm reading ahead. Will Rogers third. Yeah, he just looked like more of a pocket passer, and Demond Williams Jr. just was more mobile. He looked like he was probably better fit to play Penn State than Will Rogers. Grady Gross kicked the 24-yard field goal. Penn State kicker Ryan Barker missed a 44-yard field goal wide left. That was the first time he missed a field goal. Fourth quarter, Grady Gross kicked a 35-yard field goal. Penn State running back Katron Allen ran in a 1-yard touchdown. Washington turned the ball over on downs at the Penn State 8-yard line, and Penn State won 35-6. A Nick Six to start the second half was called back due to a hold. Nick Singleton ran. I mean, he's been getting really close to returning touchdowns. Cornerback struggling on jump balls in this game. Uh, yeah. I said, who is Corey Smith on that last run? Oh, yes. Corey Smith. So Penn State running back. I I guess he's going to be the future of the running back position. I don't know, but he's been looking really good since. Um, he's lightning in a bottle, man. I'm curious to see how he's going to perform next year. All right. For Penn State at Purdue, Penn State quarterback Drew Alley threw a 2-yard touchdown to running back Katron Allen. Drew Alley threw a 15-yard touchdown to tight end Tyler Warren. Purdue kicker Ben Freehill kicked a 22-yard field goal. Penn State running back Nick Singleton ran in a 10-yard touchdown. Ben Freehill missed a 49-yard field goal wide right. Penn State led 21-3 at halftime. All right, Tyler Warren back at it again with a 48-yard rushing touchdown. Drew Aller threw a 46-yard touchdown to wide receiver Trey Wallace. With under 5 minutes left, backup quarterback Ryan Brown came into the game for Purdue. On the following drive, backup quarterback Bo Pribula came into the game for Penn State. The first play following a horrendous drop by wide receiver Anthony Ivy that would have been a touchdown. Bo Pribula ran in a 49-yard touchdown. It was a great throw. I do remember that was a horrendous drop by Anthony Ivy. Like you had a touchdown, but Bo Pribula didn't care. He just ran in the next play on a touchdown. Fourth quarter, Ryan Brown threw a 20-yard touchdown to tight end Max Clare. Bo Pribula threw a 24-yard touchdown to tight end Luke Reynolds, another tight end who I can't wait to see. Penn State won 49-10. Tyler Warren completed a pass then caught a pass on the same play. All right, so it was a lateral. I don't remember who was throwing him the ball. It was a lateral, and it was probably Drew. Then proceeded to throw it to Tyler Warren on the same play. I said Warren is probably the greatest college tight end I've ever seen. Yeah, he's definitely the all around best tight end I've ever seen. I've never seen a tight end play all these positions like he does. I mean, usually you got skill guys playing that, but and I, I want to emphasize that Tyler Warren is a better blocker than he is at anything else. And I hope everybody realizes that. He is so good at blocking, and that has now been underestimated because of what he has done this year. And I think that's incredible. Because I mean, he has been the best blocking tight end for a few years now for Penn State. Um, it's crazy. All right. Let's see. We got two more games. Penn State at Minnesota. Minnesota running back Marcus Major ran in a 20-yard touchdown. Penn State turned the ball over on downs at the Minnesota 45-yard line. This was the supposed trap game. Uh, Minnesota kicker Dragon Kesich kicked a 48-yard field goal. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller threw a 45-yard touchdown to Amari Evans. Minnesota quarterback Max Brosmer threw an interception to Penn State linebacker Dominic DeLuca, who returns at 29 yards for a 29 yards to the Minnesota 23-yard line. Dominic DeLuca, the last 2 years, he looks like he's going to be a very good linebacker when he starts next year. Um, Penn State kicker Ryan Barker kicked a 45-yard field goal. Penn State punter Riley Thompson's punt is blocked by Minnesota special teamer Derek LeCaptain, and Minnesota takes possession at the Penn State 21-yard line. Max Brosmer threw a 21-yard touchdown to tight end Jamison Gears. Drew Aller ran in a 4-yard touchdown. Extra point is blocked by Minnesota defensive back Jack Henderson and returned by Minnesota defensive back Ethan Robinson for 2 points. Minnesota led 19-16 at halftime. So what could have been a 17-17 halftime was not because of a blocked kick. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy first half. A lot Penn State just nothing was going, and I had all these people all week. A lot of Penn State fans had told me this is probably going to be the game we lose just randomly. Um, but I thought that Penn State didn't have anything like go like I felt like they were like whoa we're not ready to start, and then once the second half started it's like yeah we're ready to start. Dragan Kesich kicked a 42-yard field goal. So at this point, it's 22-16. Penn State running back Nick Singleton ran in a 12-yard touchdown. Max Brosmer fumbled the ball, and Penn State safety Zakee Wheatley recovers at the Minnesota 41-yard line. Ryan Barker kicked a 32-yard field goal. Dragan Kesich kicked a 26-yard field goal. Penn State went to win 26-25. First half, yeah, Penn State looked sluggish from their offensive players. and they kept shooting themselves in the foot. The fake punt first down in the fourth quarter was gutsy. You didn't want Minnesota to get the ball back, so fourth quarter you're faking a punt in your own territory. Yeah, that's gutsy. That was probably the one of the best calls I've ever seen James Franklin make to go for it there. Um, that was one of the gutsiest I've ever seen him call. Um, and back to last week, Maryland at Penn State. On the first place from scrimmage, Penn State running back Nick Singleton fumbles the ball, and Maryland defensive lineman Tommy Aking Bisotti recovered the ball at the Penn State 25-yard line. On the second play from scrimmage, Maryland quarterback MJ Morris throws a 25-yard touchdown to wide receiver Caden Prather. Though that was just a horrendous start. Like I thought the Minnesota game was a horrendous start. That was a horrendous start, but Maryland ended up doing nothing for the rest of the game. Penn State kicker Ryan Barker kicked the 49-yard field goal. Second quarter, Nick Singleton ran in a 2-yard touchdown. Maryland turned the ball over on downs at their own 30-yard line. Penn State quarterback Drew Aller ran in a 1-yard touchdown. Penn State backup quarterback Bo Pribula ran in a 1-yard touchdown. MJ Morris threw an interception to Penn State cornerback Davion Collins, who gives Penn State the ball at the Maryland 46-yard line. Drew Aller threw a 7-yard touchdown to tight end Tyler Warren. MJ Morris threw an interception to Penn State linebacker Tony Rojas. Football is life. Who gives Penn State the ball at their own 9-yard line? Ryan Barker, 53-yard field goal is blocked. Penn State led 31-7 at halftime. Third quarter I have one sentence. With under 5 minutes left, Maryland subs in backup quarterback Champ Long. Fourth quarter, Nick Singleton ran in an 18-yard touchdown. MJ Morris comes back in for Maryland to start the fourth quarter. Bo Pribula comes into the game with around 12 minutes left. Maryland turns the ball over on downs at their own 48-yard line. Penn State turns the ball over on downs at the Maryland 12-yard line. MJ Morris throws an interception to Penn State safety DeJuan Lane, who returns it to the Maryland 13-yard line. Bo Pribula threw a 15-yard touchdown to wide receiver Tyzier Denmark on the last play of the game. Penn State won 44-7. Maryland's head coach was mad. You see the conversation they have when they meet up at midfield, and Maryland head coach is like keeping Franklin in, like saying like, "Hey man, that wasn't cool. That wasn't cool. You shouldn't be doing that on the last play." James Franklin's known for doing that. Everybody gets so mad at him, but with I do want this is one thing I do agree with James Franklin on is you need to be playing full 60 minutes because even in the games that you're winning 70-0, you need to continue to play for multiple reasons. There are guys who may never play football ever because they're a backup and you want to see the backups thrive. And another thing is in with college football, there being a ranking system and looking at point differential, it is very important to look at your point differential, and scoring as much as possible is a big move. So I get it. Um, yeah, that's really it. Some notes I had, Nick Singleton followed the fumble with a 66-yard kick return into Maryland territory, so that was a great bounce back play by Singleton. Tyler Warren passed Pat Freiermuth for most receiving touchdowns by a tight end in Penn State history, also broke the Big Ten record for catches in a season by a tight end. Maryland head coach Mike Locksley was definitely perturbed by the final touchdown, and he had a long convo with James Franklin after the game. Getting to Tyler Warren, he's maybe like one catch away from being Big Ten all-time leader in receiving yards. So yeah, he's getting up there. Um, yeah, I don't. Tyler Warren really should be headed to New York with Hunter um and Genty. And after that, I don't think a quarterback should win the Heisman this year. Honestly, I don't think any quarterback's even close to winning the Heisman. I don't think any one of them should come close to touching that. I don't think. I mean, maybe Dylan Gabriel, maybe Cam Ward. Maybe they'll get the four spot. I do think Tyler Warren has been. I mean, if Tyler Warren isn't in the convo, then will a tight end ever be in the convo? Because Tyler Warren is doing everything at every position. He's doing stuff that no tight end has ever done. So I don't know. That's if we saw an NFL player doing what Tyler Warren is doing and leading their team to the record that Penn State has, that tight end would be in the MVP convo. But I'll get to the MVP convo with like Saquon Barkley eventually. But the Associated Press likes they like quarterbacks, so I don't know. I don't think a tight end. I mean, we were doing our Player of the Year votes, and I don't remember ever seeing a tight end season and being like, yeah, they definitely are the best player in the league. Um, and it's one of those things that tight ends, the better you do at receiving, your blocking also gets diminished, but the better you are at blocking, your receiving gets diminished. So no, no, you kind of got to do a lot of things. And what Tyler Warren is doing a lot of things, I think is being overshadowed. Um, Especially with what Travis Hunter is doing. Travis Hunter is doing fantastic on both sides of the ball. I do think he deserves to be in the Heisman convo. It's between Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter. Let's get to that real quick. Heisman convo, I think I won't put down either one of those two, Travis Hunter or Ashton Genty. A lot of people I see all the time saying um, Travis Hunter is only good. Some people say like he's just average at both sides of the ball. No, he's actually statistically like top 5, top 10 on both sides of the ball. Like that's incredible. What he's doing is insane. Now, he plays for Colorado. I get it. Colorado's not that great right now. And most of the time when you're a Heisman winner, you're normally on a team that's really good. And that's where I do think Ashton Genty is going to end up winning. And that's not to diminish what Travis Hunter is doing. I think what Travis Hunter doing, I mean, was saying he's the Shohei Ohtani of football is on point. I mean, I remember us having this conversation about Ohtani 5 years ago, saying, what's the NFL equivalent to Ohtani? There is none because you need to play on both sides of the ball. And guess what? Travis Hunter plays both sides of the ball very well. Um, if you're just talking about his receiving ability, he's probably going to be a first round pick. If you're just talking about his coverage ability, he'll be a first round pick. Putting them into one guy, I I would take him over every quarterback because that is something that can change the outcome of games, being able to play both sides of the ball that well. And it's something that no quarterback would be able to come close. None of the quarterbacks in this class, especially, I don't think they would come close to the importance that a player can be playing both sides of the ball at that high of a level. If he is able to play cornerback at a Pro Bowl level and wide receiver at a Pro Bowl level, that's the scariest thing because he would if you were to be a Pro Bowler on both sides of the ball, you are an all pro player. And it's weird to even say because you're not an all pro at either position, but you are impacting both sides of the ball. I mean, you are single-handedly changing the outcome of game. We talk about all the times about like one player on an NFL field because there's 22 guys on a field at all times. One player on the field isn't going to single-handedly change the outcome of a season. Even the greatest players of all time, even AP in 2012, even Dan Marino in 84. It comes down to a team and it's a team effort. It's always going to be a team effort. And when you are talking about someone like Travis Hunter being able to I mean, he could have an interception one play and the next play have a receiving touchdown. And then after the kickoff, could get forced fumble and then on the next play get an end around for a touchdown. Do you know how important someone like that is? And then who I would vote is Ashton Genty. I would vote Ashton Genty. I he's going to be playing shortly. I'm going to be watching him. He's arguably, I mean, he's on pace to be one of the greatest running backs in college football history. Um, he's coming close. If he has a big game now, he could break Barry Sanders' rushing yards record in a season, and that's incredible. Um, I'm so glad the resurgence of running backs in college football and the NFL is beautiful. I love it. Um, but Genty, yeah, he looks really good. To be as small as he is, but as powerful, he's such a balanced running back. And I'm worried that it's the talent that he's playing against. Oregon doesn't have that great of a defense, and that's probably the best team he's played against. That definitely is the best team, and I mean they're number one in the country. So I want to see what Boise State. Hopefully, they can be the 4-3 seed in the college football playoffs, and I want to see what he can do against someone like Penn State, Ohio State, Alabama. If he can do that, what he's doing now against Alabama, Georgia, like an SEC team, I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't be a top five pick in the draft. There's no reason he shouldn't be number two right after Genty, right after Travis Hunter. Um, and that's not saying that's where it's weird. See, I would, I think Genty should win the Heisman, but when it comes to who the first pick in the NFL draft should be, I think it's Travis Hunter. Because if you're building a team, you can eliminate two positions with that one guy. And especially him playing at a high level at both sides of the ball. I love what both of them are doing. I think what both of them are doing is beautiful for the game of football. And if either one of them wins, it doesn't matter to me. I think that what we are seeing is historic, and I can't wait to see what both of them can do on Sundays. Hopefully, they're not on an NFC South or NFC East team that's not named the Eagles or Saints. I would love the Saints to get Travis Hunter, but that's not going to happen. And then we have Alvin Kamara, so I doubt we'll draft Genty. Um, Eagles won't be in a position to draft either one of them. Um, yeah. Getting to Penn State, last thoughts, playing Oregon. I don't know what to expect. The last time they both played one another was before I was born in '95. Um, and I don't, I don't know if Penn State can win that game, but hey, neither one of these teams play one another. I don't know what to expect. Um, if Penn State loses, we're probably still in the college football playoffs. I'm hoping. I doubt we'll be the three seed. We'll be ranked third. Um, but I would like to be because then we would probably play Arizona State, and then if we won, we would probably play Boise State. That's the perfect scenario. That's whoever ends up in that spot of like playing Arizona State then Boise State. It's probably got a free round to the final. What? That would be the final four. Yeah, that would be to the final four. So I mean, hey, if they can beat Oregon, they're probably gonna be the number one team in the country, which is shocking. I think there's some issues still with this Penn State team. I think at their best on defense looks fantastic. I think against good receiving cores, I think they struggle. I think the important thing is Abdul Carter needs to understand that this defense needs him at off-ball linebacker and not edge. Penn State has a lot of great edge rushers, and Abdul Carter is a great edge rusher. He can be one of the top picks in the draft playing edge rusher, but he can also be one of the top picks in the draft playing off-ball linebacker. And I know a lot of off-ball linebackers lately don't get drafted pretty high. That's why he's playing edge. And But what Penn State needs right now is an off-ball linebacker playing against good run teams. So I would much rather him play off-ball right now than an edge rusher. Now against Oregon with Dylan Gabriel, I probably need to see him at edge rusher. I don't know. I'm a little worried. So I mean, hey, this is one of the biggest games Penn State's probably ever played. Um, that's not a national championship game. So, and we're not even in the college football playoffs. I can't wait. College football playoffs is gonna be awesome. So now we're gonna go and move on to let's see, who do we want to talk about? Let's talk about the Saints. Um, yeah, let's talk about let's let's talk about the Saints because I have a lot because Saints is pretty straightforward. The Eagles, a lot of things have gone on in my opinions on Sirianni haven't changed, but I a lot of things have happened with the Eagles. So with the Saints, a lot of things have happened, but we're kind of still in the same spot we were when before I started talking. So uh, I mean, the Saints started the year off hot, then struggled, which Dennis Allen was the issue. I mean, by the time this Chargers game hit, I'm thinking, as long as Dennis Allen's the coach, I just don't know what the even point is anymore. And a lot of Saints beat writers I was reading, they had the same opinions that like as long as Dennis Allen's the head coach, what's the point of this season now? It's not like we'll go to the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna go through. I'll go through my thoughts on each game. Um, I won't go play by play. Chargers beat the Saints 26-8. Um, this was the game that I'm like, I don't even know why Dennis Allen's even out there. Defense was lacking speed. I mean, at this point, Dennis Allen lost to the defense, and that was the one thing he had going with his time with with the Saints. Chris Olave has been beaten up the last couple of the for like 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row, he got hit so hard, and I don't know. I don't know what he's supposed to do. Two of them were legal hits. The Bucks game, he did lead with the helmet, and there was no flag called. So, either way, I don't really know what Chris Olave is supposed to do as a player. Um, he got hit so hard 3 weeks in a row, and I thought I felt so bad for him because he was one of the best players on the offense. He's probably not. He's just not doing well. So I hope he clears. He gets better. I hope medically he gets cleared, and I hope maybe think about doing the concussion helmet. I don't remember what they're called. The padded helmets. Maybe consider that. I don't know. Um, I know that's something he thought about. That's what I had read. Um, Offense struggled to get anything going in this game. Um, I know Nathan Shepard tried to injure Justin Herbert by holding and rolling his leg to the ground. He ended up getting fined, but I think the fine got rescinded or something like that. I mean it was pretty clear and obvious to me, and I'm on the opposite side of that. Like I get it. You don't want to see your franchise quarterback get hurt. I completely understand. Nathan Shepard shouldn't have done that, and that's where the discipline that Dennis Allen had, he was lacking discipline. Um, this was the game that told me that Spencer Rattler isn't necessarily a franchise quarterback, but he is a nice bridge quarterback. I think he is a very nice bridge quarterback. Uh, which is kind of just what Derek Carr is. Rattler's a little younger. I would like to see Rattler maybe in a, I don't know. Rattler looks nice. He'll make some plays here and there. I think he's a very good backup quarterback to have. Um, the Saints Panthers game now earlier in the year, the Saints whooped the Panthers, and then this is how you know Dennis Allen was going to get fired after this game. Um, I mean, the Panthers won 23-22. Um, Chris Olave got hurt again. This was the last game he played. Um, it was a scary situation. This was his third head injury in the last 3 weeks. Um, Tackling sucked in this game. Run game was fantastic. Run game has been fantastic all year, and that's thanks to Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak is fantastic. Um, he should be in the conversation for the head coach, but probably won't. Fourth and short with the game on the line, and you throw a deep pass when you just needed a field goal. Unbelievable. Oh man. Dennis Allen ended up getting fired on my birthday, so happy birthday to me. Yeah, he got fired on November 4th. That was great. I was saying hallelujah. Um, Dennis Allen's time with New Orleans, like he is the best defensive coordinator that we've had in my time watching the Saints. Um, and he is probably going to get a job somewhere as a defensive coordinator or defensive assistant, and that defense is immediately going to be very good. It's just so weird. He sucks as a head coach, and because he sucks as a head coach, he loses his time talking to the defense because of it, and thus the defense gets worse, and overall the team gets worse. So he should remain a defensive coordinator in this league. Um, and that's okay. There's a lot of great coordinators in this league. There's a lot of great individual coaches in this league. Look at Jeff Stoutland. Stoutland's been offered jobs to be offensive coordinators at places. Stoutland ain't going no. He's like, I'm just coaching offensive line. You don't want to go anywhere else. Then you got guys um, like there's just some coaches who are just not good at being head coaches. Um, It's like you go to work, you might have a great worker, but they wouldn't be a great manager. And that's the difference. This is different. It's part of life. And Dennis Allen is just one of those guys. So, Darren Rizzi is now the interim head coach for the New Orleans Saints. Saint Falcons at Saints. This is where things just started to turn. And this game, Alvin Kamara became the New Orleans Saints all-time leader in rushing yards. Alvin Kamara, I can officially say I don't need to look at the stats. I don't need to look at my projected stats. I know for a fact that Alvin Kamara is the greatest running back in New Orleans Saints history. He's one of the best receivers in team history statistically, on top of the fact that he leads in almost every single rushing category. Um, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I know we signed him like a couple weeks ago. This dude's just been, where did you come from? I mean, it's so funny. The entire league was dragging on this dude, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, because he's played with Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, and hasn't done anything. And he goes plays with Derek Carr, and he looks like Thanksgiving Day Randy Moss. It's so crazy. This guy just and he looks really good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm like, what is this guy? Um, yeah, Alvin Kamara dropped a game-winning catch that would have likely scored them a touchdown. Yeah, Alvin Kamara, he was hard on himself, but the Saints ended up winning the game. So, um, after a Tyrann Mathieu interception. Kirk Cousins has not been playing well. All the Falcons, all the people I did the Falcons videos with, I told you, I said, Kirk Cousins, he's not going to be Matt Stafford when the Rams won the Super Bowl. He's not going to be Peyton Manning when the Broncos went to the Super Bowl. He's not going to be Tom Brady when he went to the Bucks. He ain't like that. Kirk Cousins is a very, very mediocre quarterback. His highs are statistically great, but against bad teams. His lows are statistically bad against great teams. He is a very mediocre quarterback. You aren't going to win a Super Bowl with him unless you build a juggernaut around him. And even with a prime Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Dalvin Cook, and a very good offensive line and a very good defense, they couldn't get it done. So put that into perspective, Falcons fans. Um, anyways, getting with the Saints, who aren't in a good position themselves. I'm not saying the Saints are being better than I'm not saying we're in a better situation. I'm not saying Derek Carr's better than Kirk Cousins. I think Derek Carr's being more efficient than Kirk Cousins right now. But yeah, it's not we're not in a good space, but hey, none of us are winning the Super Bowl. First quarter, and we'll just go to the Browns and Saints games. So the Saints won 35-14. Three consecutive plays with Taysom Hill led to a rushing touchdown, with a pass, catch, and run. It was this game that may have been one of the greatest performances Taysom Hill has ever had. And now you got to understand, Darren Rizzi is a special teams coordinator. Taysom Hill has worked a lot on special teams in his career. Um, and he sees Taysom Hill and he's like, wow. Um, I said it here. MVS is doing better than he was with potentially three Hall of Fame quarterbacks with Mahomes, Allen, and Rodgers. Dante Pettis almost had an 88-yard punt return touchdown, but that got called back. Taysom Hill had a monster game. I think he had over 200 total yards, and he had what? He had um he did fumble the ball. Um he had two touchdowns. So he had two touchdowns. He had a return. He threw a pass. He ran the ball. He caught the ball. He was basically everywhere. Um, Taysom Hill went nuts. It sucks. He ended up tearing some ligaments in his knee. He'll be done for the year. He's 35 years old. I don't know if this might be the last time we see Taysom. If that was the last big game we get at Taysom, I salute him. Taysom has a historic resume to him. It's a very unique resume. Like, I think he's got over 50. He's got over 50 touchdowns in his career. His yards per touch is like over five, and he's just I mean, he's an efficient player. And I say this all the time that the people who hate on him because he's just mediocre at different things, you're the same people saying Travis Hunter shouldn't win the Heisman. I don't understand what's wrong with what Taysom and Travis Hunter are doing. Um, you got to understand how much dedication and how much that does on your body being able to do so many things at once, and you need to be very smart doing all those things. You need to learn not just the offensive plays for Travis Hunter's perspective, but the defense plays. And for Taysom Hill, you not only need to know pass concepts, but you need to know runs. You need to know your blocking assignments. You need to know your routes you're running and other players are running. You need to know everything on the offense. And on top of that, you got to go on special teams and maybe block a punt, return punts, return kicks, block on kicks, do any of that. Um, at this point, I wanted to see Taysom Hill kick a field goal, but I don't think that's going to happen. Week 12 was a bye. Taysom Hill was also Offensive Player of the Week. He's won Offensive and Special Teams Players of the Week. Now he needs to figure out a way to get on defense. Um, all right, Saints at Rams or Rams at Saints. This is last week. Uh, you know, Saints kind of had the game going for them and just lost it later in the game. It's crazy because the Rams should win this game. I think the Rams are really young and inexperienced. Um, so having this game be only 7 points is kind of crazy. I don't think McVay coached a very good game. But I think the Saints held their own. Taysom Hill not playing in this game kind of screwed up the scheme of the offense. Now I want to know how the offense is going to work for the rest of the year with no Taysom Hill. At this point, Alvin Kamara is on pace to get his first 1,000 yard rushing season. That's all I care about at this point. I know the Saints aren't making the playoffs. It'd be a miracle. You need to win out, and then other people lose. And I don't know what else there is to play for. So I'm I'm hoping guys like Tyrann Mathieu return. I know he's a free agent and get Alvin Kamara 1,000 yards rushing. And I know I saw an article, I think it was yesterday, say what's the point of force feeding Alvin Kamara anymore? Dude, I want to see him get 1,000 rushing yards. Don't we all? I mean, I'm sure he wants that. That's one thing that like a lot of people don't understand that like the people who don't understand how good Alvin Kamara is will say, "Oh, but he's never ran for 1,000 yards." Yeah, because he's got like 1,300 yards, scrimmage yards every single season. I mean, he's fantastic at receiving. He's one of the best receivers on the. He's been the best receiver on the team for a while. He's been the best runner on the team for a while. He does it all. He's been the franchise. He's been the guy Drew Brees handed the keys over to Alvin Kamara. It is Alvin Kamara's team now. And I mean, he deserves everything. Give him 1,000 rushing yards. Let him get it for the first time in his career. Where he's at statistically in terms of scrimmage yards and scrimmage touchdowns, he's on a Hall of Fame pace still. So, um, yeah, that's really it. That's all I'm hoping for. Get Alvin Kamara 1,000 yards rushing. We'll see about and try and draft a franchise quarterback. They'll probably end up drafting a wide receiver, try and get Derek Carr going one more year, but I know that the Saints aren't going to go really far. Derek Carr, I mean, there are times where he looks like an MVP candidate, and then there are times he's not. And I just want more consistency. And I just don't think we'll get pretty far. We got to see more consistency. We need to see a full season of consistency out of Derek Carr, and I don't think we've seen that. So, I'd like to see the Saints draft a quarterback, in the first round this time. Saints haven't done that since Archie Manning, which is crazy. Uh, yeah, let's see that. Now we'll move over to the Eagles side. Saquon's really good at football, I heard. If you haven't heard what Saquon Barkley's doing, he's been pretty good. Let's see. So the last time you didn't hear from me was the Eagles at Giants game, which was probably a game I should have covered. Um, Saquon went nuts. He almost had his career high in uh rushing yards, but he told Sirianni went up to him and was like, "You're a couple yards from breaking the record, your own personal best record." And Saquon's like, "Let the other guys eat." I love this guy with all my heart. Saquon, I mean, I'm gonna tell the story. I met Saquon's dad when Saquon was going to be a freshman in at Penn State. I went to Penn State. I was like a ball boy slash coach for slash assistant coach for an adult women's softball team, and I was like, what? I don't know how old I was. But we were going to states at State College. Well, we won Pennsylvania. We got first, and or we got first or second. I don't remember. And I went to the museum at Beaver Stadium. This was well before I would go on to go to Penn State, and I was looking at jerseys, and I remember in the museum you have the store to your left, right? And after I took the tour to the museum, I remember going through into the store. I have a poster to this day of I don't remember what player it was. It was 16 on Penn State, and I think it was like a corner or safety. And this guy was he was talking to the cashier. He was very nice. He was very enthusiastic, and he's like, my son's a running back here. Uh, he's a good one. He's his name's Saquon Barkley. I had no idea who Saquon Barkley was. Come to find out, Saquon had played my high school many times in track events. Not necessarily football, but like he's gone up against some of my teachers who were coaches for the track team when Saquon was at Whitehall, and uh, yeah, I mean everybody I've ever met in this area has nothing but positive things to say about Saquon from his character. Not even just his level of like his abilities on the field or on the court or on anything, but he is a humble person, and I'm not shocked that he said that he was going to that he wanted other guys to do well, and while he could have broken his personal best record, and he, he ended up he ended up breaking it later on in the year anyways. um so all right, some notes I had with the Giants game. First play on offense, Josh Sweat was on Malik Neighbors. That was the first play of offense or defense. Josh Sweat was in coverage on Malik Neighbors. Luckily, the Giants are incompetent on offense. Um, Linebacker Ben Van Sumeren lined up at fullback. This was the first game we would see Ben Van Sumeren. Sadly, this coming Sunday will be the first time we're without Ben Van Sumeren at fullback because he had a knee injury. Um, and we will now see Kari Blasingame. He was the fullback for Derrick Henry when Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. I think he was in a bad scheme when he went to the Bears, and I think he's a very good fullback. I think the scheme for the Bears, you didn't need a fullback because of the option offense. And with the Titans, I mean, that was a perfect scheme for a fullback. Uh, I think I think the Eagles finally realize what I've been saying for so long. Fullbacks are important. You need one of three things. Everybody who knows me knows I say you need three things to have a good run game. You either need a two tight end set, which the Eagles occasionally do it, not very well. You need a option offense, which the Eagles don't do it as well. I think Hurts earlier in his career did. I don't think anymore. But we do use it, and you need a fullback. If you don't have any one of those things, you're not going to be good. Look at the Niners. They have Kyle Juszczyk, and look how good their running game has been for years before Christian McCaffrey even got there. And yeah, Ben Van Sumeren. I love Ben Van Sumeren. If you have watched any of my videos for the preseason, you know I like Ben Van Sumeren. I've been calling him Ben Van Superman because Ben Van Superman is really good. I like his ability, his tackling ability. He's not great in coverage, but I like him at linebacker or tackling. I think he's really good. I think he should have made the 53-man roster. I think he should have been in competition with the starting job. Um, Putting him at fullback, like holy crap, I don't know where that came from. Um, Great job by whoever's idea that was. If that was Sirianni or Kellen Moore's, that would have been one of their best ideas they've had. I hope it was Kellen Moore's idea. Uh, there was still no first quarter points despite beating the Giants. Edge rushers were finally doing things, but it was against the Giants' offensive line, so I wasn't too impressed. Cooper DeJean I thought at this point solidified himself as a starting punt returner when Covey came back. Or sorry, who was it? Al Michaels called him Britton Covey. No, it was Jim Nance. He called him Britton Covey. It's Covey, bro. Um, it was a weird decision for the Giants not attempt a touchdown on third down with 8 seconds left in the first half, but take the field goal. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why they didn't try one more play for the end zone. Jalen Hurts tied LaShawn McCoy for third. Um, oh, yeah. Jalen Hurts at this point tied LaShawn McCoy for he passed LaShawn McCoy for third most touchdowns and or oh wait, what happened here? Oh yeah, so Hurts had a couple rushing touchdowns. He tied LaShawn McCoy for third most in Eagles history, and then he went and tied uh um Wilbur Montgomery for second most in Eagles history. Now he has sole possession as second most. He's not going to keep catch up to Steve Van Buren this year, but who knows? After a couple years, maybe. Um, yeah, that's crazy that Jalen Hurts already has a second most, and everybody says it's the tush push. I don't care. I mean, I see Eagles fans now saying, "Look, Jalen Hurts is taken from Saquon's rushing touchdowns." Do you realize the pace that they're both at? They're both on pace to be the first 15 touchdown duo ever, ever. Hurts is second in the league in rushing touchdowns. Saquon's third in the league in rushing touchdowns. That's crazy. There's no way that that should be happening. Yeah, could those have gone to Saquon? Of course it could have. I don't care. As long as someone gets in the end zone. If you want to take it away from Hurts, then let Saquon get some snaps. Figure out a way to get him snaps. I've been saying, why not just figure out a way to get Jordan Mailata back there? Put Fred Johnson at left tackle. Mailata played some rugby. We all seen the highlights of Mailata playing rugby. Get him the ball and get him back there. Um, yeah, pass rush was dominant, but let's be honest, it was the Giants. 8 sacks for the Giants. 8 sacks on the Giants, 4 sacks allowed. Going to Eagles, Bengals. Screens and underneath passes killed the first half of the game. Allowed the Bengals to methodically drive down the field and score a touchdown with 4 minutes 56 seconds in the first quarter. Nolan Smith was in coverage on Jamar Chase. LOL. What I don't know who is doing that. It's not Fangio because last year this happened too, where we just have some random edge rusher in coverage. Brandon Graham has been in coverage multiple times over the last 2 years. Um, Stupid. I don't know who's doing it. It's dumb, especially when they're on their best wide receiver. Jamar Chase is literally the number one wide receiver in the league right now. He should get paid. I don't know why he's not paid. Um, and you got Nolan Smith on him. Are you stupid? Whose idea is that? I need to speak to a manager. Um, Third down defense looked horrendous in this game. Mike Gesicki just destroyed the Eagles outside of the fumble that Zach Bond forced. But the Eagles ended up winning that game pretty handedly, 37-17, despite it being 10-10 at halftime. Um, let's see. Jaguars, or wait. I do want to go to which game was this? I don't think that might have been earlier. Oh yeah, I had talked about that in a prior video. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Yeah, I don't want to talk about him anymore. Jaguars at Eagles. Sidney Brown has been crazy on special teams. I love it. Sidney Brown is crazy. He might be a Pro Bowler at special team, or I guess all pro. They do Pro Bowl games, whatever. We're not going to talk about that. I didn't have notes on the Jaguars game, probably because I don't know, it's 28-23. Yeah. What happened in this game? This is a game that I don't remember. Um, Let's see. Trevor Lawrence threw an interception to Zach Bond, gave the Eagles ball 33-yard line. The Eagles led 16-0 at halftime. Jalen Hurts ran in an 18-yard touchdown, 2-point conversion unsuccessful. Trevor Lawrence ran in a 1-yard touchdown, 2-point conversion successful. This was when Saquon fumbled. That might be one of the worst calls I've seen all year in sports and or years in sports. It's been a while. Saquon is tripped over up the Jaguars player's foot, which caused him to fall. And then obviously as a player, you're gonna try and catch your feet if you're falling, which happens a lot. And as he's on the ground, he then loses the ball and Trevon Walker returned it for a 35-yard touchdown. What? That one gave me a headache. That's something I think Saquon doesn't fumble often. I think he's fumbled twice in the last since this, but the one time was last game against the Ravens, but he got the ball back. Um, he doesn't fumble often. He's one of the best play. He's one of the best running backs in since college. That is able to hold on to the ball and not fumble. He's one of the best. Um, it takes something horrendous for him to fumble like that. Like I don't understand why you don't call, despite being touched by a defense player, by the rule book, he should be down. And what the ref was saying after the game was that he was still fighting for like I guess he was gaining stability. No, the heck he was not. Stop it. Did you watch the play? What? How did he have a random chair that he was leaning on so that he could get his stability? He was falling to the ground. There was no way he was gonna not fall to the ground. Um, he was gonna be down, and then he just wasn't. That was stupid. Yeah, I don't know. That frustrated me. We'll go to Eagles Cowboys. So obviously Dak Prescott is out for the year. So we saw Cooper Rush in this game. The Eagles. Um, I don't know why I didn't include the score on here. So 14-6. What was the score? I don't remember the score. Because Dak wasn't playing in this game, I kind of just like knew the Eagles were going to win. Um, and it's 34-6. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was Trey Lance came into the game. Yeah, the Cowboys just didn't have anything going for them. It kind of went as I expected without Dak Prescott. Dak's a good quarterback. I'll say it. I don't think he's this great quarterback. Like I don't think he's going to be like a Hall of Famer or anything unless he somehow gets a Super Bowl. Um, the injuries have really plagued his career. It's like this last half of his career. Um, but yeah, I mean, they had CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. You could see the frustration on both their faces, especially over the last couple weeks. I think Micah got benched in Thanksgiving game, but some people are saying it was an injury. I don't know. I thought this was I don't know. It was over the last couple weeks. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been playing good fundamental football, and he's not turning the ball over, and he's not overextending himself, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. And I don't know why. Whenever Jalen could have such a fantastic game, and then people downplay it, and then he'll is saying he needs to be more of an efficient quarterback, and then he'll go and play an efficient football, and people will say you need to be better. And so I feel like Jalen Hurts has become the most underrated quarterback in the league. I mean, we look at Joe Burrow every single year, just after the Super Bowl, every year with Joe Burrow, people see and are like MVP candidate, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And with Jalen Hurts, I don't think people see that same. I don't think I get that same thing out of him, especially with Jalen Hurts after, in the Super Bowl. One of the best performances by a player in a Super Bowl, and um, I mean, it's comparable to Tom Brady's performance losing to the Eagles in Super Bowl 52. So I don't know. I love what Jalen Hurts is doing. I won't ask for him. Just don't turn the ball over. That's all I ask. You can do whatever you want. You can go 11 for 17, 150 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. You don't even have to score a touchdown as long as you don't turn the ball over and we win by 30. I don't care, and I like what he's doing. That's my quarterback. Um, Eagles Commanders. This was a big game. You had the rookie of the year candidate, Jaden Daniels. I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I think I mean, anyone who's read anything I've said about the quarterback class, the class in general, I had Caleb Williams as the number one player and Jaden Daniels as the number two player, and very close behind. And to this moment, I mean, you can throw Bo Nix is doing very good. I This is one of the best quarterback class. Drake May's doing well. We haven't seen Michael Penix, so it's not like we can say much about him. But outside of Michael Penix, this quarterback class has been really good. Like I love it. You love to see a draft class be successful on all aspects because instead of saying, I would rather people say, hey, oh, this guy's the rookie of the year. No, this guy's the rookie of the year. This guy's doing so much better than that guy. Instead of, wow, these guys all suck, like the Kenny Pickett class or with Malik Willis. Um, but yeah, they're all doing great. Or the year after Trevor Lawrence, you had Mac Jones and Justin Fields and Trey Lance, and look how terrible that turned out. Um, Even though Justin Fields is statistically doing pretty good this year from a total touchdown to total turnover ratio, I think overall that class kind of sucks. Trevor Lawrence is in a bad spot right now. So who knows? But I'm so glad with where this is headed. This game was very important for both parties. I think whoever won that game uh, took a firm command of the lead, command. But and the Eagles prevailed. Eagles won 26 to 20, 26 to 18, despite it being a one score game. Their last touchdown came with like only a little bit of time left. They had to attempt an onside kick. It was basically the Eagles had the game pretty secure in the fourth quarter. Um, yeah, Saquon continues to just ball out. He had the 39-yard touchdown. He had a 23-yard touchdown. I mean, he's been clutch. I don't know if I've ever I don't know if I've ever used a running back being clutch before. But he's been clutch, and I mean he's one of the best running backs in the second half. Statistically, he's one of the best. If you take just his second half yardage, he's still one of the top leading rushers in the whole league. And Kellen Moore's offense is designed to be pass first, so it's weird. Um, it's like the Eagles will pass first and then run second, and I don't like that. And the fact that they're doing that and Saquon's doing so well is extraordinary. Saquon could be doing even better if we had a run first offense. Um, Going to Eagles Rams, this was special. Uh, Saquon ended up with what 255 rushing yards. Um, yeah, Saquon had 255 rushing yards. He had 300 and He had 302, 303, 303 rush, 303 total yards. Um, yeah, 303 total yards, scrimmage yards. Um, he so oh my gosh. This game was close. The Eagles won 37-20. And all right, here my couple notes, stupid decision at a quarterback draw on fourth down and fourth down and 7 with 7 seconds left, and you call it a QB draw at the Rams 48-yard line. That was to end the first half. Anything could have been better than that decision. So it is you're at the Rams 48-yard line, right? So you're 48, you're what, 10, 15 yards from a good field goal. You only have 7 seconds left. So you can't turn the ball over because the Rams will then have a chance to you can't throw a turnover, you can't fumble the ball away, you can't run the ball and not get the first down because the Rams will get the ball. They could get good field goal position for a field goal, or they could get good field position for a Hail Mary, and you need to either punt the ball or attempt a long field goal or step back, heave the ball as far as you can to waste the clock. And the decision was QB draw. Whose decision was that? Who's the idiot who made that decision? Oh my goodness, that was just horrendous. I don't know who calls that. Anyways, luckily Saquon is just inhuman. Um, Saquon had it's just a fantastic game. He had a 70-yard rushing touchdown and in the third quarter, and then he has 72-yard rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter, and then Kenneth Gainwell stole a 13-yard touchdown from him. Uh, and then people picked him up in fantasy for some reason. Kenneth Gainwell ain't that guy. Um, 255 rushing yards. He broke LaShawn McCoy's record. I believe Shady did that that was the snow game. Shady did that against the Lions. Um, and he had 303 scrimmage yards. He had one of the greatest performances on the ground ever in terms of rushing yards and scrimmage yards. I think it was like what the third most in a game for a running back. I don't know, but yeah, what a fantastic game. This was the game that I think finally put Saquon on the map for the MVP race. All year long, I had Derrick Henry as the player of the year since week two. So I started my player of the year power ranking in week two. Player of the year power ranking is basically who I'm going to vote for player of the year in our Old Legacy uh, awards for the Gridiron Awards. Um, and Derrick Henry has been my vote all year long. Um, Fred Warner was it for a while up until a couple weeks ago. Since he got hurt, he really fell down. There was a huge gap between Derrick Henry and everybody else. And then Saquon the last couple weeks just kept going higher. And I mean, Saquon was always in the top 10. Uh, but statistically, he was just a little too far behind. But then got closer and closer and closer. Then this game happened. I put Saquon ahead of Derrick Henry. I think it's Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. I think those are the two best players in football right now. I don't think anyone else in the conversation. I think all the quarterbacks. I think Lamar and Josh Allen were the only two quarterbacks I can even think of that are in the top 10. But even then, I don't think what they are doing is even remotely close to what Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are doing. Both Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are on historic paces right now. Saquon Barkley, all right, after this Rams game, he was on pace to break Eric Dickerson's record by like 50 rushing yards and Chris Johnson's scrimmage yards record. Now he's projected after the Ravens game, which I'll get to now. So with the Ravens game, this was probably this was a great game for shutting down Lamar Jackson and slowing down Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry did not score a touchdown, so Hurts and Saquon got a little closer. Saquon's rushing touchdown really pushed the Eagles into a win, kind of like the Commanders game. Last second touchdown got the game a little closer on the score sheet than it was. It was 24-19 final. Eagles won with that touchdown to Isaiah Likely. Um, yeah, Saquon ran 25-yard touchdown. That was the nail in the coffin. Um, he what Derrick Henry I guess this will turn into the MVP race. Um, I think I think right now I don't have any quarterback in the top five players for this year. Um, I think I could list a couple guys that are better than all the quarterbacks right now in football. I Saquon and Derrick Henry are obviously one and two in whatever order. You can put Derrick Henry ahead of Saquon. I won't argue with you. I just I've been going week to week showing the progression, and you see the shift right after that 200-yard game because then it puts Saquon in a historic territory to possibly break Eric Dickerson's record. Right now, he's projected to break it. Um, and he's projected to be like 6 yards short of Chris Johnson's scrimmage yards record. Um, there's only been six running backs to rush for 2,000 yards, or eight. There's been eight running backs to run for 2,000 yards. Uh, Eric Dickerson, O.J. Simpson, Jamal Lewis, Chris Johnson, Barry Sanders, Derrick Henry. Maybe it was six. Adrian Peterson, and it was I don't remember who the other one was. No, it wasn't Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis is the most yards. Maybe it was Terrell Davis. Um, but what he's doing is incredible. Um, most rushing yards I see him. Jamal Lewis, Eric Dickerson, Adrian Pearson, Jamal Lewis, Barry Sanders. Yeah, it was Terrell Davis. Okay, yeah, Terrell Davis. Um, Terrell Davis has most total rushing yards, including playoffs. That's why I was thinking maybe it wasn't him. But yeah, of the guys who didn't win MVP, half of those guys won MVP. The ones who didn't were Eric Dickerson, who you'll say that out loud, and I think the internet might think, oh, this is why they value quarterbacks more than running backs. But you have to understand how historic that season was. That was the same year Dan Marino broke basically every single record for a quarterback. And not only broke it, but it wasn't close. Eric Dickerson, what he did was phenomenal, and he beat OJ's record. But Dan Marino just destroyed. He demolished every single passing record, and they wouldn't be broken for like 20-25 years. So so I understand it. It's understandable. It's a freak scenario where if either of those seasons happen in another season, they're both either one of them are winning MVP. Eric finished second that year. The other one was Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson didn't receive any votes because, well, frankly, the Titans sucked, and no matter he broke the scrimmage yards record that year, CJ2K, and it didn't matter because the Titans were terrible. They're the only team below 500 on out of all of those teams. Um, yeah. The other one was Jamal Lewis. That was the year there was co-MVPs between Steve McNair and Peyton Manning. He finished fourth in the MVP voting. I think Tom Brady was third. Yeah, Tom Brady was third, and Peyton and Steve McNair were co-MVPs. I think Jamal Lewis was my pick. I don't remember who my pick was for player of the year that year. Um, But yeah, he finished fourth, so he was still in the voting. And then the anomaly is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, when he ran for 2,000 yards, he didn't receive any votes, which was very weird. Um, yeah, it was just odd. He probably should have. I don't think I voted for Derrick Henry for Player of the Year that year. Um, yeah, I think, and then Saquon, I mean, as current pace, he's projected to be up there. I mean, he breaks that record in today's NFL. And here's the thing: people are going to add the asterisk, right? And they're going to say, "Oh, well, Saquon's going to do it in only one more game, so that we're going to put an asterisk next to it." Do you not realize Eric Dickerson broke OJ's record in two more games? And OJ broke that record in a couple more games than Jim Brown. Like we could be going. We're gonna go through this for the rest of human history. It doesn't matter. Put the asterisk. It doesn't matter. That what you, anyone's able to accomplish this in is historic. Nobody has broken the receiving yards record. Still nobody has broken the rushing yards record. Still nobody has broken any record. T.J. Watt tied the sack record. That's the only single season record that has been tied or broken, and that is T.J. Watt. He tied the record. So yeah, just it would be blasphemy to include any quarterback this year. I think all the quarterbacks are having good seasons. I think a lot like Lamar and Josh Allen. Joe Burrow is, but the Bengals suck. Um, which I mean, when you have the best wide receiver, are one of the best quarterbacks, and one of the best edge rushers, and you're still that bad, that says something about your coaching. Um, Mahomes isn't doing good this year. Jalen Hurts is one of the top quarterbacks when you're looking at total touchdowns and total touchdowns. And that's something you have to look at. Like look at Lamar. Lamar's leading. I'm pretty sure he's still leading the league in passing touchdowns even after the Eagles game. And he's having a great year. Josh Allen's having a great year. I think they're both having great years, but I wouldn't call them MVPs. I would have Saquon and Derrick Henry one and two. I think Kirby Joseph and Xavier McKinney have both been the two top defensive players in the whole league over this year. Look at every aspect of their game when it comes to coverage, when it comes to tackling, and when it comes to getting turnovers. They are the two best defensive players in the league, and they need to be held responsible for how great they're doing. Jamar Chase is very close to the Triple Crown. He doesn't have the catches, but he has the yards and touchdowns. He probably will catch up with the catches, but I mean, yeah, the Jamar Chase is having a fantastic year. Um, yeah, those are five guys. Those are my top five guys. I think there's a couple that I have on the Player of the Year. Um, I think I don't remember. TJ Watt is up there. TJ Watt's been quiet the last couple weeks, so I might not have him on there anymore. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's the Eagles season. I think the defense is one of the top defenses in the whole league right now. In points, they go and play against these top offenses, and they don't. It's not really shutting them down, but they slow them down a lot. And because of what Saquon's doing, Saquon is able to break this team wide open to be a dominant force. And now Devontae is going to be healthy. I mean, I don't know when the last time we had Goddard, Devontae, AJ, Saquon, Jalen all healthy for one game. And Goddard's not going to be playing against the Panthers. Panthers have one of the worst run defenses in the whole league. I mean, Austin, our Panthers administrator, he said, "What's the single game record for rushing yards?" And it was Adrian Peterson, November 4th, 2007. I know that my birthday. Um, he did that against the Chargers, and uh, he said there he might get to 300 rushing yards. I think I think Saquon would get pulled. if it gets that close. I think as if the Panthers keep scoring or if it's close, then you might see him start getting there. But I want him to get over 125 yards because that is the pace set for Eric Dickerson's record. So you need 125 yards. If he can get 250, that's incredible because then you're doing twice the effort. That means when you and eventually play the Steelers, then you don't have to like that's not something that's like gonna eat at you if you only get like 30 yards rushing. So yeah, what a historic season. Everybody's playing. I love the way Jalen Hurts is playing football right now. And Saquon, I love to watch. I love watching Saquon. I've always loved watching Saquon. He is my. I hate. It's weird saying this because Adrian Peterson was my favorite running back for so long. Before he even rushed for 2,000, I was I guess one of the few people who had high hopes for him before he tore his when he after he tore his ACL, and I drafted him in all my fantasy leagues, and the AP ran for 2K, finished like 8 yards short of Eric Dickerson's record. I remember seeing his face when he was upset that he didn't get it, but he was so proud that he took the Vikings to win the NFC North that year. That was incredible. Um, Saquon's probably my favorite running back ever now. I mean, I've watched him at Penn State, and now I watch him on the Eagles, and it's incredible to watch. Yeah, so that's it for the Eagles, Saints, and Penn State. Now we're gonna just quickly touch up on the Hall of Fame. So this is gonna be really quick. Um, so give me 1 second. So it's a little different this year. Um, let's see. Give me 1 second. I have to make some pictures smaller. So, anyways, Ralph Hay is all right. So I'll go through with the sort of the contributor section. I don't know what to call this. Uh, This year they separated coaches and from contributors, so coaches have their own section and contributors have their own. I like that. I'm glad they did that because contributors are very different. Like coaches do contribute to the game, don't get me wrong, but there's so many coaches. At this point, it's been just coaches and owners who are in the contributor category every year. Um, but now they separated the two. We also have three senior finalists. The contributor finalist is Ralph Hay. He was the owner of the Canton Bulldogs in the late 1910s, early 1920s, and he also helped found the NFL we know today. Um, I think he should have been in decades ago. I think he should have probably been in the first class. Um, but I mean it's been so long. I mean the Can Bulldogs also were one of the best teams pre NFL. I mean they are arguably the greatest team pre NFL. They're essentially a dynasty. Um, but he was only an owner for a couple years, but his contributions to founding the NFL were so historic that I think he should be in. Um, Another one is uh Mike Holmgren. I think there are a lot of coaches who should be in. I think there are way too many that um there there were so many so there was eight other semifinalists for the coach category. Bill Arnsparger, Tom Coughlin, Chuck Knox, Dan Reeves, Marty Schottenheimer, George Seifert, Mike Shanahan, and Clark Shaughnessy. A lot of, I think all of them probably need to be in Canton, including Mike Holmgren, but com only three of these five at max can get in out of these like non-modern finalists. And comparing any of these names to the senior players and Ralph Hay, they're just not in the same category as those guys. And I just don't think he gets in. Um, I think Mike Holmgren should be in, but I don't think he gets in this year. Um, Sterling Sharp was one of my finalists. I mean, when we did the live stream, uh, with Terry and Chris, and um, I don't. Sterling Sharp is one of in his prime. He's one of the greatest receivers of all time, and yeah, he needs to be in. I think as because he made it this far, I'm thinking, okay, he's clearly going in because this is normally where we get to the point where it's every year we're like, oh, is Sterling Sharp going to be considered? Is he going to be taken seriously? Seems like he's being taken seriously now. So I'll write it now. Sterling Sharp is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2025. Um, the other two players, Maxie Baughan, a Philadelphia Eagle legend. Um, I I think Maxie Baughan has the resume to be a Hall of Famer. And I think also Jim Tyrer, who's the other one. I think both of them have Hall of Fame resumes. It seems like the NFL tends to undervalue AFL accomplishments, and that's why I don't think Tyrer is going to get in, even though I think he should have been in a while ago. Um, he's one of my top offensive linemen that I think should be in the Hall of Fame. So I think what's going to happen is Ralph Hay is going to get in, Sterling Sharp is going to get in, Maxie Baughan is going to get in. They all need 80% of the votes to say yes. Um, if none of the five get 80%, then whoever has the highest percentage will get in. So it's possible only one guy gets in, which I would be extremely disappointed if one or two guys get in. I think three every year. I don't like having a minimum, the minimum number of people getting in. So, and then finally, the modern era finalists. Um, we have Luke Kuechly. So we have six first ballot players um, going that are finalists. There are 25 names. Luke Kuechly's one of them. I knew Luke Kuechly was going to get here. Luke Kuechly is one of those guys that I think is could get in his first year, but I think it'll be tough. I think his short career might hurt him in a way that it did Patrick Willis. Um, and I think it should. I think if Willis took a year, I think it should take a year for Kuechly. Eli Manning has been the wild card. Everybody's been saying it. Should Eli be a first ballot? Should he not? I I don't think there's any reason why he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think he probably will. And I think it's stupid. I think Eli will go to the Hall of Fame eventually, but I don't think he'll get in first ballot. I'll be the one to say no. Terrell Suggs has a fantastic resume to get into the Hall of Fame first ballot. Um, Earl Thomas, I think he definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. He's not getting in first ballot. Adam Vinatieri is the next wild card because he's a kicker. Um, I mean, at the time of his retirement, he was the best kicker of all time, and it wasn't even close. Um, and and I mean, I think he's the best kicker of all time right now. A lot of people say Justin Tucker, and I have said for years, I will not say any active kicker is the best of all time until they are near the end of their career, because seasons like Justin Tucker is having right now impact your overall career. Justin Tucker's prime is pretty much the greatest kicker of all time, but when we're talking about your career as a whole, your accuracy comes into this situation and your clutchness too. And that's Adam Vinatieri is the most clutch kicker of all time. Um, So Adam Vinatieri, I think he should be in first ballot, but I don't think he will. I think he'll get the Ray Guy treatment. Um, Marshall Yanda has the resume to get in first ballot if he wanted to. Richmond Webb and Steve Wisniewski, it's been years since it's been like over 2 decades since they were last finalists, and I don't see any reason why they're going to get in this year. I think they should be in the conversation to get in, but because it's already been so long, I don't see why they would even be in. Eric Allen has an argument. Um, Eric Allen has an argument to be in. He was a finalist last year. Jared Allen also has an argument. Willie Anderson, I don't know. He's been a finalist for the past couple years. I just don't think he will. Anquan Bolden, I love Anquan Bolden. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but there are a lot of better receivers that should be in first. Jari Evans, I won't be shocked if Jari Evans is one of the guys who gets in. Um, I mean, his resume, he's one of the best guards of all time and of his generation. Um, James Harrison he's got a good resume. I don't think he has the longevity of his prime which is a weird thing to even say, to hold up. Like his prime was very short and it was really good, but it was very short. And he played a long time. So it's weird. Rodney Harrison, everybody has said he should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm curious to see how the last couple years affect his current status. Torrey Holt, I think he should have been on a while ago. Robert Mathis, I said he should have been a while ago. Steve Smith Sr., I think Steve Smith should be in. Fred Taylor, Ricky Waters are the two running backs that are in, and I don't know. Ricky, I think should be in. Ricky, I think should have been a couple decades ago. Fred Taylor, I don't know. I think there's a lot of other guys. Sean Alexander's not on this list. I could give you a huge argument why Sean Alexander should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he's not even a final. That's crazy. Um, Hines Ward should, a lot of these guys should be in. Hines Ward should be in. Reggie Wayne should be in. Vince Wilfork should be in. Darren Woodson should be in. What I think's gonna happen is I don't think we're gonna get any players, any first ballot Hall of Famers this year. I think we are gonna get out of the modern players. I think we're gonna get Eric Allen. That's not because he's an Eagle. Because of the way the Hall of Fame works is if your like eligibility is running out and you'll end up being a senior nominee, they usually push you in last second. I think that's what they'll do with Eric Allen. Eric Allen, um, I think they'll oh wait a minute. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Was Antonio Gates not on this? Wait a minute. Wait. Hall of Fame finalists 2025. Contributor. Yeah, we got that. Modern era. Okay, Antonio Gates. I must have not yeah, I didn't write I guess I didn't write it. I must have skipped right over Antonio Gates. I was about to lose my mind. Antonio Gates is here's Antonio Gates. Here's everybody else. There's no way this man shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he wasn't. It was dumb. I don't understand. Like, are you going to tell me that Travis Kelce and Gronk aren't going to be first ballot Hall of Famers either? That's crazy. Yeah. So we're gonna go Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, um, Jari Evans, Rodney Harrison. I think somehow they push him in, and I think you got to throw in a wide receiver because we're still behind. um, I think they're gonna put in Reggie Wayne. I think Torrey Holt should be in, but I think they're gonna put Reggie Wayne in. I think I don't know. And Steve Smith too. Steve Smith, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, I kind of put in that category that like it's going to be one of those three. As it's not going to be Hines Ward because of his stats aren't with those guys necessarily. Anquan Bolden, same thing, but a little lower. Um, yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. So what did I say? Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, Jari Evans, got to get an offensive lineman in there. Rodney Harrison and Reggie Wayne. And then out of the other three, what did I say? I think it's gonna be Sterling Sharp, Maxie Bond, Ralph Hay. That's what I think is gonna happen. I think there needs to be some. I think they need to fix some things. I think if you're the lead representative of the coaches, I think you should be in. I think if you're a I think if you're one of the final three senior finalists, you should be in. I think if you're a lead contributor, you should be in. I think 10 guys at max for 53 guys on a roster for 32 teams over the course of all of NFL history, which there hasn't always been 32 teams, obviously. There have been so many players and contributors and coaches to the game of football. You pick 10 guys every year, that's fine. Don't do any more, don't do any less. I think 10 is perfect. 10 is a great number, and I maybe switch it so that it's four modern players, three senior, two contributor, one coach. I like that. Anyways, this is a long video. Holy crap, I'm gonna lose my voice. I'm not gonna be able to talk tomorrow. That's okay, because I'm gonna be watching Oregon and Penn State. So, yeah, that's gonna be that. I'm not gonna be editing this video. It's gonna be too long. Um, yeah, this was great. I got a lot off my chest. Let's see, I covered the Hall of Fame. WNBA expansion draft. I think a lot of people should pay attention to the way WNBA. I don't know about much about the WNBA. I'm gonna be completely honest. I do post about the WNBA. Uh, I I just don't follow it. I think if Philadelphia got a team, I would be very interested. There's been a lot of uh, women's basketball in the Philadelphia area and just the southeastern part of Pennsylvania is, I mean, a lot of women play basketball. I watched a lot of women's basketball games in this area, and it's very important um, to this part of the country. I mean, some of the greatest women's college players and coaches have come from Philadelphia or the Philadelphia region. So that's my bid for having an expansion team in Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia has enough heart to show the love to a team like that. And I would be curious to see what the name is called. You got to add some red, white, and blue in there. Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, a lot of people should pay attention to the expansion rules because I think that's something that the NBA will incorporate soon when they expand. Um, I assume the Supersonics are going to be coming back. I mean, let's clear the room. Let's just lay it out on the table. Seattle Supersonics will be one of the expansion teams coming back if Seattle is getting an expansion team. It's pretty clear and obvious. You can call them the Seattle Sonics, Seattle Supersonics. I don't care. They're going to be one of the teams. Oklahoma State Thunder is going to just transfer all the rights to their history over there. Oklahoma State Thunder is going to just be treated as an expansion team. It's it's going to be simple. It's simple. Um, Same thing with that happened with basically the Browns and Ravens. Speaking of basketball, Sixers suck, so I don't really have much to say about them. Bulls aren't doing well either, but not as bad as the Sixers. At least Jared McCain's doing good. I mean, Philadelphia might have three rookies of the year right now. There's a rookie of the years, rookies of the year probably, with Matvey Michkov and Jared McCain and Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell is shutting down everybody in front of him, and then Michkov is just. I've never seen a rookie on the Flyers ever play this good, ever. And then Jared McCain is playing. He's playing phenomenal. I love it. It sucks that the Sixers suck, but hey, what do I know? And then the Bulls, they're not. Yeah, whatever. Um, yeah. Pay attention to expansion format because the NBA is probably going to use some sort of format like that. The United Football League. Let's see. Anything happen in the United Football League? I don't think so. Oh, they're looking at expansion. Two teams for 2026. Hopefully the Stars come back. Philadelphia Stars, hallelujah. Um, hopefully. I mean, they historically are one of the best spring teams of all time. So I don't understand why you wouldn't bring them back. Uh, Call up Lincoln Financial Field, tell them, yo, we need a venue, just play there or place, I don't know, play somewhere. If the Eagles already share the field with like Temple, why not in the spring just use it for the Stars? Yeah, that's that. I got a lot of jersey. I don't know if I should keep on talking. I got a lot of jerseys. You're gonna see some changes happening. Um, you've probably seen this Chuck Bednarik autograph. You're probably gonna see some changes here. I got a lot of framed jerseys that I'm probably gonna be hanging up. Um, yeah, that's that. Um, well, go Penn State, go Saints, go Eagles. Yeah. And Juan Soto, I hope you don't sign with the Phillies.